soup. Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me, I have some more RPG horror stories. I just came up with a really stupid idea for my Halloween outfit. What if I, as a tiefling, cosplay or dress up as an angel? That'd be really stupid. Anyway, I'm gonna start thinking of what to dress up for Halloween. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll take all the aggregated suggestions and see what I can make. Either way, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. DM accuses OP of metagaming to avoid a TPK. It can be a curse to have read lore sometimes. My tale's a short one, but admittedly an avoidable one. So I'll forever DM wanted to take a break and be a PC for a change, and so the first to step up as the new DM eagerly assumed the role. Apart from the DM and myself, sadly the other PCs are not as relevant as they all took it all in stride. Our setup was fairly normal. A few adventurers meet and form a party. We take our first quest, which was the first real red flag. The one way or another, remove a black dragon from its lair. Our quest giver was a mysterious man whose face we could not see, by the way, and this was the first that tipped me off that this was a trap. I was playing a ranger who had trust issues due to being driven from his homeland, and made it clear on session 0 my ranger would join the party, but would be sleeping with a knife at his back to the wall at all times. I was going through an edgy phase. Either way, felt it was in character to not trust anyone, so this was fine, I thought. I mean, we were level 3, and being sent out to defenestrate a dragon, come on. Through some trials, we managed to find the lair. I should note that up to this point, nothing seemed odd in the surrounding area, and even the locals, though fearful of the dragon, did not seem to be suffering, which I noted as odd, as black dragons are pretty cruel things. So then when we met the dragon in question, it was a rather young black dragon, and a fight was winnable but not easy. We then faced with a choice of swords. Dragon is hostile but does not immediately attack, and we have a verbal exchange. I'm the only one in the party who's opposed to fighting, wants to abandon the quest as I found it all sus. For those not familiar, green dragons are a common rival of black dragons as they favor similar dens. They'll also not fight black dragons directly, but will either wait for them to die or move on before taking it, but they're also masters of manipulation and revel in it. So I surmised that in some way, there was a green dragon wanting us to clear out the place for him. As we never saw the face of the quest giver and no locals seemed to be suffering being so close to an evil dragon, and it was younger and weaker than expected, I wanted to just turn away because I and my ranger couldn't trust that the green dragon wouldn't swoop in after we won and one-shot us. Paying attention to lore and general descriptions like this is actually kind of a good thing, especially if you play in the game. The more you know about the game, the better. I don't know if you necessarily would classify it as metagaming per se to know this sort of stuff, but many people don't really know like the difference between like chromatic, gem, metallic dragons. They just simply don't know. They just one of those things that most people on average don't really keep track of. The fact that this player is keeping track of this stuff and actually understands this piece of lore, that's actually kind of cool. And the fact that players are a little bit distrustful of this situation, I don't think it's a bad idea to have like a hunch that something is wrong. Finding the whole situation a little bit sus, I don't think it's a bad idea. It's players having an intuition about something going on here. And with players a little bit more sketched out about this whole situation, let's see how the DM handled this specific turn of events. Well, we were forced to roll initiative, and wouldn't you know it, what I predicted happened. We kill the black dragon, and then the green dragon appears, thanks us for being useful pawns, and then wipes us from existence. Though the way the DM had to play it out felt more like it was out of spite because I called it. He then rage quit after calling me a metagamer, even though it was made clear my character trusted no one and was proficient in history, and all my rolls in that one check were good. Admittedly, I shouldn't have used meta knowledge to inform my actions. However, as stated, my character was quite knowledgeable and highly distrusting, and the whole setup was full of red flags that any could have spotted. I'm not sure if the DM really did want a TPK, but he was also new to DMing things. Honestly, the only way I see this handle play out better would just be me just turning my brain off. It was more used to our forever DM and needed to think in 4 dimensions given he was fond of red herrings and the like, so I was overprepared for a first timer. I don't think that's actually a bad thing. In fact, I think your DM is actually really good at using these sort of like red herrings and other like ways to trick the party. Not necessarily to trick the party, but I guess to put in little roadblocks along the road of the adventure. In fact, it's more of a compelling storytelling to do so, at least I think so. But what did this DM want to do? Y'all to just go kill the black dragon and then green dragon just come in, kills you guys? Whoa, what a fun story. We were tools in your machinations and you decide to kill our player characters. Whoa. I really want to know what the plan was originally for the DM to do. What was the next step? It couldn't just been like, here's a story, go kill the black dragon and get killed by green dragon. That could have been, there's no way that could have been the entire story. If it is, that's a dumb story. That's a really stupid story where you're specifically plotting for a TPK. The fact that a couple of players caught on to this, and OP caught on to this because of previous knowledge about green dragons and black dragons, and just generally knowing and understanding the lore, I think nothing is wrong with that. In fact, I think it's actually really cool, because that means players are paying attention to this stuff. They are paying attention to the lore, to the stories and everything. On the topic of whether this is metagaming or not, the OP did say they passed their history checks, and they do have the character basically be described as knowledgeable and have proficiency in history and intelligence stat kind of a little bit high up to make sure to buff that proficiency. So I don't think it's a bad trait to have. At least it gives you a leeway to have your character know some things that is meta knowledge to be able to share with your party, and then go from there. That could in itself turn into a cooler story. Figure out why the black dragon is here and which of the people among the villagers is a green dragon that's trying to just ploy them, plot for them and stuff. Honestly, I think the story would have been cooler if the players did get an inkling that something is wrong. Start going as basically the search party, or like this investigation to find out what's going on and suss things out. Which one of these villagers is a green dragon? Literally playing they'll literally be playing Among Us, but it'd probably be more interesting of a story to tell than just kill the black dragon. Oh, thanks for killing the dragon. Ah, the party is dead, you know? Anyway, let's move on to the next story. DM called me a murder hobo for trying to climb a wall. In hindsight, there were a few red flags. An experienced DM posted looking for new campaign members. He wanted to talk first to see if we were a good fit. Red flag number 1. On the call, he spent an hour monologuing about past campaigns. I didn't ask anything about me, but he promised a roleplay rich 80% roleplay, 20% combat, which was intriguing after mostly playing in Murder-Hobo parties. Red flag 2. Couldn't direct me to any resource about the system, which I now think he had invented, only saying that it was a mix of 1E and 3E. I was excited about learning those systems and told him I would be happy to participate, as long as he could give me guidance. Red flag 3. He monologued for the first 30 minutes under the guise of us all being able to share our strengths and weaknesses, but did not give any space for anyone else to say anything. Red flag 4. During his monologue, he commented about, before I continue, does this DM do anything but monologue, or they just want to be heard? I mean, some DMs literally just want to monologue for minutes upon minutes upon minutes about what they're writing. Dude, just write a book. If you can't give space for players to interact and make comments in between and participate in the stuff you're talking about, then what is the point of running a D&D game? Write a book or make an audiobook. You clearly want to be heard, but you don't want to listen to your players. Red flag 4. During his monologue, he commented about an experience he had with his friend's wife. She wanted to attack someone, try to convince her that she had other, more interesting options. She eventually got fed up being told what to do and decided to leave the game. His takeaway? I should have explained it to her better. The way he told it was clear that it wasn't ill-advised to make the attack, he would just committed more interesting options. I can see his point, but this is not the game style that I'm used to. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, remembering that he was committed to a more roleplay game. Maybe he wasn't manipulative in general, but he had to double down in this case. But I was starting to paint an image of a DM who gets into interactable arguments with players until they quit, rather than someone with a conflict resolution skill needed to navigate different perspectives and allow for character free will. Red flag 5. While I was in the bathroom, I was gone for 2 minutes tops, we started playing. We were in a cave, and we could see red eyes gleaming around us. We had gotten a complete understanding of the map of the cave from a drow elf. One player, who had admitted to being a bit of a rules lawyer, insisted on trying to talk to the drow, wondering why he shared his information. He tried role-playing. He put on a voice and everything. We were told the drow walked away before we could interact with him. That sounds weird. Imagine you try to talk to a character like an NPC and try to just start a conversation, but suddenly after you talk about it and after you say your thing, the DM says, the NPC just left without you. Did the NPC just walk away mid-conversation and just walked out? Is that what he did? Is that literally what he did? He just walked away from the conversation? That's weird. Weird thing to do, but okay, let's keep going. Red flag 6. I was confused as to how we got in a cave. I was directed to Slack. I looked through the Slack channel, and all I could find was already what I knew. We had returned to our hometown to find a dragon that we needed to slay to avoid the townspeople from fleeing. I pressed the issue and was given no additional context other than we were chasing monsters and fell into a cave. Now I'm currently in 2 Murder-Hobo parties. I've never been forced into combat before. That's not what DM had promised. I thought of how other DMs will play the scenario. We would hear about the monsters at a tavern, rich with characters, would find the mayor or duke, baron, sheriff. They would tell us it was essential that people didn't flee the town. They might even have a map of a cave, which would have been a better explanation than a drow who wouldn't talk to us. I was beginning to get an image of someone who doesn't have the same idea of roleplay as I do. Red flag 7. I was trying to play a dexterity-based character. Hadn't chosen her weapons, but I saw she had a climbing axe, and I suggested climbing the walls and was ridiculed. Stood up for myself. My character has a dexterity of 18. With an axe, she should be able to climb mud walls. Tried to roleplay her going to the cave walls to investigate, but I was shut down. I was a bit confused, thinking how different this was from other games I had played, but I figured even though he is an experienced DM, he's just not creative. He got a script. He doesn't want us to roleplay, so maybe I'm now in a 3rd combat-heavy campaign. I'll give it a few sessions and see how it goes. Could be, or could be the DM is just not really good at improvising, so they have like a specific set of notes or what they expect the players to do. But like, the whole fun of TTRPGs is the improv. Hey DM, can I climb the wall with an axe, with a climbing axe? Sure, roll acrobatics or athletics, whichever one's better for you, you know? Just kind of go from there, roll from there. If there's something that players logically should be able to do, let them do it. Let them do the thing they logically should be able to do. There's nothing wrong with that. The whole point of roleplay is to be able to roleplay and like come up with different creative ideas. The creativity of it all is important. If you're just on rails just to go from one place to the other the whole time, kind of takes away the ability to be creative whatsoever, you know? But anyway, let's keep going and see how this goes. See how many more red flags we can stack up in this story. Red flag 8. My inventory was empty, and frankly, I was a bit miffed when I hadn't had a chance to stock up on things in town before leaving to chase the monsters. I asked about this and was told I could write down whatever fit in a box. This seemed like an invitation to magic wand, literally or figuratively out my way out of the situation, but I could tell this DM had a plan. And despite his attestations that anything was possible and he liked creative solutions, he wasn't ready for anything other than going through the dungeon according to the script. Final straw. We figured out a marching order and we started moving through the dungeon together. We were told we could not do this, we had to act in turn order. Rules Lord was not happy about this and an argument ensued. Rules Lord relented and we each took a turn moving out allotted 6 squares. After the 3rd person's turn, person who introduced himself as Squishy, who I promised to protect, DM started rolling a random encounter. Rules Lord was real mad. Went around and around trying to figure out a way to move together. DM said, "Maybe if you want to tie yourselves together with a rope." I said to the DM calmly, "This won't work for me. I don't want to play this way." Others chimed in and agreed. I said, "Can we find some compromise?" Again, he insisted on turn order. I said, if we really have to do this on turn order, I think I'm going to leave. I have executive functioning issues and I'm just looking for something more engaging. I thanked him for his time and calmly left. Having things to be done on a turn order to keep things organized is one thing, but if the party is just literally going from point A to point B in semi-straight line, why do we need turn order for that again? Just let people move freely throughout the thing. I use VTT Foundry for my games, right? So we have like a virtual tabletop and everything. People have the maps, they can move tokens and do stuff around. And whenever there's no combat, players are allowed to move freely around the map and explore different sections and different places and put the tokens where they want their characters to be and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, and because it allows people to just freely explore and move at their pace, whether they want to move really fast or really slow, whatever. But having a turn order just to move around a cavern, why? Just have like a specific trigger moment whenever they move to a specific location and then pause the game and say, as you step to this place, this happened, instead of having everything be bogged down to turn order, just to move. That makes things extremely slow. It drags out the movement insanely and it's completely unnecessary in this situation. The next day, he was on the meetup group looking for new players, saying how he had accidentally invited a Murder-Hobo and a rules lawyer to his campaign. I was going to start screening for antisocial tendencies. I didn't roll any dice the whole 2 hours I was there. No one did. My character didn't move, speak, or observe. None of our characters did. So yeah, I guess I'm a murder hobo, and we're antisocial for wanting to interact with our environment. If wanting to get involved and somehow interact with the environment is considered antisocial tendencies, then yeah, I guess I'm very hella antisocial. I have a ton of antisocial tendencies for wanting to move about, move my token around, and roll some dice. Man, what a problem. I'm such a problem player, guys. Nothing can be done in 2 hours. If you can't even like engage in the stuff that you're doing within first 2 hours, within the first hour you should be able to engage with stuff going on. If you can't engage with stuff within the first 2 hours because of some sort of a dumb system we have to just wait till turn order just to move a little bit or go somewhere, then what's the point, dude? What's the point? I might as well just watch paint dry. That'd probably be more exhilarating, and there'd be some sort of engagement watching paint dry than playing this game. Also, calling somebody a murder hobo for wanting to climb a wall. It's a mud wall. You just want to climb the wall to do something. Being called a murder hobo for that, or rules lawyer because you want to talk to an NPC that just simply ignores you. How is that? This DM is clearly making up a bunch of stuff. It's not worth getting mad over. It's just not worth it. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.